I'm Dan Morris, you're watching Bosun Dan Bushcraft, and today we have a bit of a lamp feature again. I apologise, yes, it's been very paraffin and lamp based the last couple of months, nearly a year maybe. This week's wasn't going to be, this week's was going to be some full on bushcraft antiques, but I started doing a bit of work on the old bushcraft buggy, Ernie, my 1989 Mark I Volkswagen Caddy. And basically I've got an entire wheel arch rotted off the back of it, so I've had to order some bits of panel work, and I've got to cut off all of that and get that sorted out. I need to keep that on the road, as even though there are other bikes and vehicles, that is my number one. It's partly these problems I have is the reason why the camper hasn't gone any further with it neither. It is what it is. I've got to get that done. So today's video, excuse me, is probably going to be a little early and a little different than what we wanted. But for those of you that do love lamps, I have a lovely little feature here. Vitamin coffee. That's gone cold. Oh, I despise cold coffee. Anyway, drum roll as we introduce la-da-di-da, some paraffin road lamps. Wonderful things. Look at these. 3 lenses on each one, and these were used back in the day to mark roadworks, road holes. They would also be used on railways to just markers, really, to show all sorts of things or problems, or where people might fall and hurt themselves or anything like that. I've done that, don't need that. Anything like that, basically, just to bring alertness to any drivers or anything that might be passing by that could potentially crash, or any pedestrian that might walk into a hole and hurt themselves. You can still see the electric versions of these. You'll find them on skips or hanging off scaffolding and things like that, of varying styles and designs, and I imagine in some parts and places that they do still use these ones, the paraffin ones. Now we'll just pop this one out the way for a moment and start off with this beauty. Look at this thing. This is actually made by our good old friends at Chelwin, which you can't really make out very well on camera. I'll bring it close just in case you can, but it does proudly say Chelwin across there. A registered design. I can't quite make out the number, just in case there's any full-time boffins out there. It seems to be 9, is that 66446 or something like that? Just in case there are any serious paraffin nerds who want to do any looking up, that is the number that I can see. Now this one is 1960s. As always with these sorts of things, it can be very difficult to get an exact time of manufacture. They don't tend to mark these things particularly well, especially with, say, things like this, road lamps, where they would have been produced in huge quantities and sold to companies. So we're quite lucky that it has the Chelwin stamp on the back of the door. 3 lenses to project light in 3 ways. And inside here, which is always a pleasure to find, the lamp is still in there. This has not yet been unfortunate enough to be purchased by some crazy lunatic that's going to turn it into an electronic lamp for whatever reason, or anything else with that nonsense that people call upcycling, which is actually just vandalism. It's ruining stuff, really. That's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it, because the amount of times I've been in places and found perfect examples of pan tank lamps and things like that, and some absolute lunatic has drilled a hole in it, stuck an electric cord through it, stuck a light bulb on it, and boom, there we go, ruined. I don't know what it is about upcycling where 90% of it seems to involve just sticking light bulbs on things. It seems to be the way. Anywho, in here we've got the actual lamp base itself. Slightly different design than the usual ones. It seems to have an upside down cowl on it there, which obviously spreads that flame for you, just the same as the other ones. Good sized tank on it there, well over 1/2 litre in that tank, so you're going to get a heck of a lot of burn time out of it. This one at some point's been left burning quite badly, as the entirety of it is completely carboned up on the inside. Doesn't matter that much. The lenses have still got some carbon. We're slowly cleaning that off. It's taking a while because I don't want to damage these lenses. Being original glass lenses, they are actually quite precious. They're completely the value of this lamp is to have them. So if we damage those in any way, that's going to really knock it down in collectability. So slowly but surely we're getting the carbon off them. It will get a little brighter as time goes on, as we do clean that off a little bit more. But these things, wonderful little things. Although the thing to remember with these is you've got to be quite careful as to where you set your flame. That flame, as always, as it gets a bit hotter, it is going to increase in size. Once it's inside the lamp, it draws air in certain ways. And once that door's shut, you can't really see what it's doing, other than the glow coming out of there. So, wrong way. Really, I want it that way, so that I can operate the wick winder, and then realistically that flame should shrink a little bit because I'm cutting off a bit of airflow. Lovely. And that will warm up and get brighter as it warms. It's no good letting you stare at the back door. So you can see we've got the 3 lights, one either side and one at the front. Fantastic little thing, absolutely stunning. Very, very warm as well. We'll just pop him over there for a second. Now this one is a 70s one, made by the Dorman Paralamp Company. It's, as you can tell, it's a little less complicated than the 60s ones. They've simplified the design. They have also changed from glass to plastic lenses, and this, I hate saying this pains me to say, they've kind of done a better job here with the plastic lens. I think lens technology probably improved a little bit, and these actually do project a better light. You get a brighter light, and it does actually send 3 beams of orange light out of them, which is quite pleasant, quite useful as well. It does work like a little handheld torch, to be fair. Other than that though, the design hasn't really altered much. There's probably a bit less in this. They've shrunk the amount of materials required to go in it. As you can physically tell, that one is simply a larger lamp. There's a bit more going on. Same again though, we have a nice decent sized tank, and it says here Dorman Smith Traffic Products. And for anybody who wants to know the BS number, it's 3143. And for anybody out there who's not that interested in these things, they'll say what the BS really stands for. But that's up to you. I think they're quite lovely. This one's in far nicer condition inside. It's been burning a lot cleaner over its life. Nobody's kind of left it smouldering away for ages. And the tank is in beautiful order. It's still all got its silver coating on it. It's zinc plating. Lovely. So I'm just nerding out again. So I've just switched the, so I'm smelling to see if, because if they're smoking, same rule applies as with yeah, and again, if you're wondering why I'm absolutely filthy and red-faced, it's messing with the car. Same rule applies with any other lamp. If it's smoking, excuse me, if you're smoking, you've turned it up too much, you can turn it down a bit. And vice versa, if it's not smoking, you can turn it up a bit. But you can probably tell already that this one is visibly a little brighter than the other one. As charming as it is. Like I say, this one will get a little brighter as we get the lenses cleaner and cleaner. We're getting just a little bit of flicker in this one, so I'm just going to have a quick inspect and see what the flame's doing. It's very well behaved. It is just having a flicker. That's fine, it can do that. But you can see quite well how this one, I hope it shows on camera, can you see how it literally projects? Yeah, that'll show on camera. You can see it on the whiteboard, and you can see it there. It literally projects a beautiful beam of orange light, and if I shine it at the camera, look how bright it actually is. It's really quite impressive considering it's just a plastic lens. Now, obviously, lens technologies. I'm just checking how bright. Yeah, I mean that is literally like a little torch. If you're in somewhere where it's very dark, you would easily see with that. So, lovely, it gets warm. Now, that one does project light beams as well, but it kind of throws them at a much wider angle, so it's almost like you've got a flood lamp and then a spot lamp sort of thing, for whatever reason. Now, I suppose to a lot of people these might seem a little out of place, outdated, or people might question to themselves, well, what would you want them for? Well, what really are you going to do with them? Well, aside from them being just really charming, frankly, aside from them being just beautiful and being just a really charming little lamp, they do something really rather well. In some cases better than some of the other lamps. Now, all lamps make good heaters. All paraffin lamps make decent little heaters. These things, for having the large box, actually do a fantastic job of being a little heater. I could really see these, for the prices you can pick them up as well, I could really see these being absolutely fantastic in greenhouses. You can keep your plants warm, stop everything from freezing. I'm assuming plants might possibly be able to grow from paraffin light. I know that I can get some of my smaller solar panels to work from paraffin flames. And also you've got that lovely nice little orangey glow for if you need to pop in your greenhouse in the dark. You can see what you're doing without falling over. Yes, they'd make just as good a little household heaters, and if you're very careful, I'm pretty sure that they would actually make really quite effective night lights, or just to put in dark areas of the home where you might pop in and out when you're not looking, can't be bothered to switch lights on and stuff. Or some people have got hallways that are freezing, or there are to this day still people who kind of have outside toilets where it might not be actually separate from the property, but it's outside enough that it can freeze in winter. Fantastic little thing to pop in there. Chuck these in. You can see when you want to go use the toilet in the night without blinding yourself, and your pipes don't freeze. And they're both fabulous little heaters. I mean, to be quite honest, the slightly older one is possibly just a little warmer, which I think might be the shape of it more than anything, and the sheer size of it, because the burners are about the same, but this is definitely kicking out a bit more heat. And funnily enough, you know, you would think the heat you get is just going to be proportionate to the size of the flame, but that doesn't always tally up. I had a comment on when I did the plant pot heater where somebody had basically said they're sick of these BS videos where you reckon you can get something for nothing, and I'm like, oh dear no. The thing is you're not actually producing more heat using it out of the candles than what you would sort of get from the candles alone, but what you're doing is just distributing it better. You know, if you really start to look into the differences between conduction and convection when it comes to heating, size matters. That's what the plant pots were doing. The plant pots were basically giving it more area and creating more airflow, which was getting the heat out there and putting the heat out there more efficiently. If you used the same volume of water in a radiator, but you made the radiator small and without any air movement spaces or anything like that, you would put less heat into the air. So I wasn't trying to con anybody by saying put a plant pot on, it makes your candles way hotter. No, not at all. It's the frame that heats up, and that distributes it better into the air. I know these things to be true, because if you just take the pan out of here and leave the lamp itself just burning, you'll be like, you know, it doesn't feel that warm other than I can see a burning flame, but the air doesn't go up. Put them back in their frameworks, chuck them around a bit, and you can watch, get a thermometer and watch the temperature slowly climb. I think they have a bit more of a style to them than a lot of the other things that you can get for doing that job for in your greenhouse or anywhere else. And naturally, because they run on paraffin, I was just taken with them anyway. It's just the, the way it is. But I think that is about all we really need to go into with these little jobbies. I just think they're nice, sweet little lamps, and they have a place in this collection, certainly. So guys, there may be another video later in the week. I don't know, depends how things go with what I'm currently covering myself in dirt, oil and welding burns goes. But if it goes well, we may have another one out. But if not, then that'll do for today from Bosun Dan. And as always, guys, get yourselves out there, get bushcrafting, get having fun, be safe. Find yourself some nice curious lamps, see what you can find out there. As just another quick note, if you're the kind of person who collects them, as in you're interested in the value of them, anything come from the railway will always have a higher value monetarily than anything else. It's just the way it goes. It's just one of those things. Collectors love them. So if you come across any of your red or green signal lamps and stuff that were used on the railway, they're very similar to these ones in design. They might be a different colour, and they will most likely have different colour lenses, but if you can come across any railway lamps or anything like that, they are always going to be a higher resale value. Not that I sell them, you might want to, it's entirely up to you. But again guys, that is all I need to waffle about these, so Bosun Dan out. Imaginary doorway.